Hey everybody on YouTube, this is Kyle Snyder once again, aka Clipton, and as we all know, the NFL season is finally here for 2012, and I am really looking forward to it, as most people are. And of course, a lot of people are making predictions, so I thought this season I'd make my predictions on a week-to-week basis, so here are my picks or predictions for week 1 of the 2012 season. Alright, our first game is going to be the Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Giants. I am going to go with the New York Giants because the Dallas Cowboys have pretty much been struggling to become who they once were, that they haven't made the playoffs in quite some time, and I think the New York Giants just have the Cowboys number, so I'm going with the New York Giants, the defending Super Bowl champions, to defeat the Dallas Cowboys. Next up, we have the Indianapolis Colts versus the Chicago Bears. Andrew Luck's first official game, his first regular season game, and it's very rare for rookie quarterbacks to win their first regular season game, so I'm going to give it to the Chicago Bears. Unless a major injury happens to the Chicago Bears, there's absolutely no way the Colts are going to win it. So I'm going to give the Bears this one, even though I am a big-time Colts fan. Alright, next up we have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Cleveland Browns. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win it. Like I said, rookie quarterbacks very rarely win their first game out, so obviously Brandon Whedon's going to learn the hard way that competing in the NFL is not the same as competing in college, so the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this one. Next up, we got the St. Louis Rams versus the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, obviously, unless Matthew Stafford injures his shoulder again, which hopefully doesn't happen. The St. Louis Rams, last season, they were a very horrible team. It was one of their worst seasons ever. With the exception of the 2009 season where they went 1-15, but last season they went 2-14. It's like, hopefully things will be different with Jeff Fisher as head coach, but who can say? Anyways, next up we have the Miami Dolphins versus the Houston Texans. Once again, I'm going with the favorites, the Houston Texans, because, Ryan Tannehill, rookie quarterback, they very rarely win their first game in the regular season, so yeah. And obviously, the Texans are going to be near full strength this time around, as opposed to how they were entering the playoffs last season. Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons because they have a much better offense than the Kansas City Chiefs do. Obviously, this game could go either way, but I'm going with the Falcons because they do quite well in the regular season. Alright, next up we have the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Minnesota Vikings. A loser team versus another loser team, so it's a toss-up. Either one of these two teams could win, but I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings, just because. I have no idea who's going to win this game. I'm just throwing a guess out there that the Minnesota Vikings are going to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, so we'll see what happens, though. Alright, next up we got the Washington Redskins versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, RG3, another rookie quarterback, starting his first regular season game against the New Orleans Saints. It's like, obviously, the Saints are going to be at a disadvantage this season as opposed to last season, because of all the punishments with Bountygate. They don't have Sean Payton, they don't have Jonathan Vilma, Will Smith suspended for, I believe, 4 games. And yeah, so coaching-wise, they're going to be at a disadvantage, but I believe the New Orleans Saints are still going to win because they are still an offensive powerhouse with Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham and Marcus Colston and whoever else they have on offense. All right, next up we got the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. Even though the New York Jets have been struggling as of late, they've only had 1 touchdown the entire preseason. I'm going to give the New York Jets the win here because obviously they have a better defense and while it's true that offense wins games and defense wins championships, I believe defense is going to be the main factor in the Bills versus Jets game. So the Jets are going to win it, not because of offense, but because of defense. All right, next up we have the New England Patriots versus the Tennessee Titans. I think this is an obvious one. The New England Patriots are going to win this one. I mean, yeah, they're playing away, but they're still going to win, obviously with Tom Brady and Wes Welker and the two tight end nightmare of Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski. The New England Patriots are definitely going to overwhelm the Tennessee Titans on offense. There's no way that the Titans can outscore the Patriots. All right, next up we got the Seattle Seahawks versus the Arizona Cardinals. Once again, another rookie quarterback starting his first game. But the thing with this is the Arizona Cardinals are having problems with their starting quarterbacks. Because both John Skelton and Kevin Kolb seem to be very scared out there. I mean, Kevin Kolb might say he's not scared, but guess what? His actions during the preseason told the whole story. And regardless of which, I'm going to make an exception to the rule I made. I'm going to say the Seattle Seahawks win this one. And, even though they may not have Marshawn Lynch, they're still going to have a great game against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm guessing the Seattle Seahawks are going to win this one. Let's see. Next, we got the San Francisco 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers. This game could go either way. Obviously, the San Francisco 49ers are a better defensive team, but the Green Bay Packers are a better offensive team. So this game could really go either way, but since the Green Bay Packers are going to have the home field advantage, I'm going to give this one to the Green Bay Packers. All right, next up, we got the Carolina Panthers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. They seem to have improved from the last two seasons. I think Cam Newton's going to win his first season opener, and they're just going to dominate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even though the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have gotten some big names from free agency, I don't think that's going to be enough for them to place higher than the Carolina Panthers, in my opinion. All right. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Denver Broncos. Obviously, we know how much of a power the Pittsburgh Steelers are on both offense and defense. But, of course, the Denver Broncos have advantages of their own. They got Peyton Manning as a result of free agency, so obviously they're going to be at an advantage. Peyton Manning's going to have better weapons than he did with the Indianapolis Colts, and I think the Denver Broncos are going to end up winning this game over the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, then we got our Monday Night Football games. We got the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to be a defensive-heavy game, and the Baltimore Ravens are going to stomp the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're going to prove why they are the best team in the AFC North division. So the Baltimore Ravens are going to dominate defensively. They're going to prove why they're better than the Cincinnati Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Cleveland Browns, and once again win the division by the end of this season. And then, last but not least, we have the San Diego Chargers versus the Oakland Raiders. A humongous rivalry in the AFC West. It's been like that for a long time. It could go either way, but I'm going to have to go with the San Diego Chargers. They're hoping to rebound from the past two seasons in which they barely missed the playoffs. But, yeah, I mean, the Raiders, they might pull it off, they might not. It's one of those games where it could go either way, but I'm going with the San Diego Chargers. So those are my picks for Week 1, and hopefully all my picks will be correct, but as we all know, the NFL is the most unpredictable sport in all of sports. And this season it's going to be especially more unpredictable with the replacement refs. I mean, who knows how the bad calls they're going to make is going to come into play. Who knows what teams are going to get screwed over, what teams are going to catch lucky breaks as a result of the replacement refs. Only time can tell. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.